Is Bill Belichick on the hot seat in New England? We are listening to First Things First. Let's go ahead and get to the video.
From Pro Football Talk, exploring what Mike Florio describes as the simmering tension between Belichick and Kraft. Florio writing, at some point, a sufficient stretch of failure.
Wow, what a song.
History of excellence.
This is the letter reading.
At some point, the past will have faded from the rearview mirror. At some point, Kraft will decide to turn the page.
I think this makes sense. Like, if you're Bob Kraft, okay, and you had that long stretch of success with Belichick and Brady. Brady leaves, Brady has continued success, and you continue to not, and you continue to keep failing and missing the playoffs and being subpar, whatever. I could certainly see where you would have the conversation with Belichick and say, look, we need a change. We need to turn the page. We need to have the next era of the New England Patriots. The Belichick issue with me the past couple of years, I think Belichick is still the best coach in the NFL. You know, I think he's still the greatest coach to ever live, all that stuff. But the decisions he's made with his assistants, specifically letting Matt Patricia call plays last year, like just bringing in the same people, rotating the same coordinators that are just like these guys who have failed, but they're a part of the Belichick tree. Like, that's where I think he's really messed up. I think Belichick, if he would just bring in new blood as coordinators and kind of develop them and add to the Belichick tree, I think that would be beneficial for him and the Patriots. I don't understand why he's so married to the Joe Judges and the Matt Patricias and the Bill O'Briens and these guys who have just, they don't seem to be growing with the game. They seem to be kind of falling behind. So I don't have any doubt that Belichick can still do it. It's just, it's almost like he's choosing not to do it. He's almost being stubborn with not doing it to the point to where it's a detriment for the entire team.
Nick?
Yeah. Bob Seger.
Good. There we go.
That. Yes.
Wow.
I remember that.
Is Belichick on the hot seat?
Only because of dopes like you.
What did I do?
You have
read an
been
inspirational.
I think he is on the hot seat, by the way. I think another couple of years, maybe this year and maybe another one, but definitely this year. If he wins 6 games this year, if they win 5 games, if they're bad, I think that'll be, if they win less than 7 games, I think there will be the conversation of, all right, Bill, it might be time to move on.
You have been trying to put him on the hot seat in service of McCorkle for the better part of a year, and you've really upped the ante this offseason. You've even, you know what?
What?
I'm going to betray you here.
Okay.
You have even said, I've heard you say to Josh in your little pre-show powwows, let me ask you this. If Bill Belichick were able to fire Bill Belichick, do you think he would? Or do you think he wouldn't? Would he
Good
go
question.
on a year too early or a year too late?
Well, that's true.
And I've walked by and said, that's a good point, Wilds. You're going to say that on TV? And then you get out here, he's smiling and like, no, they're fine. They're going to win the Super Bowl. It's fine.
Judged on my rough draft. Those
And
hanging
so,
in the museum of tapes.
Listen, I think this is what I think, Brew. I think his hubris has been a huge liability for them. The hubris.
Yeah, I think, like, Belichick can get away with being Belichick as long as he's winning. When you're not winning, then it's like, okay, it's not going to work anymore. Like, something has to change. If he keeps dropping these bad seasons, I mean, 7.5 is their win total. If they go under that, like, think about how bad that would look. You know, you're 6-11. If you're 6-11 in New England after missing the playoffs last year, that downslope, like that slide down, they haven't seen that in over 20 years. So that is going to cause shock. That is going to cause concern. Bob Kraft is too much of a hands-on owner to where he wouldn't do something about this. The same with the Cowboys. All right, like if the Cowboys win 3 games, Jerry Jones is doing something about it. That is not a franchise where you just kind of sit and struggle and you're okay with having a couple of really bad seasons. It's not the case. So because their win total is so low, if they do have that 5-6-7 win season, I think 100% there will be pressure on Belichick.
In his coaching staff, surrounding it with friends and family.
Yep, his own son.
Hubris in it was like a meme one year when they kept showing all the different draft rooms, and it was like 17 people in this one.
It was his kitchen. It was Belichick and his dog. I remember that. Yeah.
30 people in this one. And it was Belichick's dog, Nike, at Cape Cod, and then this year it was just...
Nantucket.
Sorry, my bad, Nantucket. And then it was Belichick just by himself this year.
Yes.
That's only cute and cool if you're crushing the draft, which they haven't. But he is still one of the 3 best game day coaches in the sport.
Yes.
And the only reason.
But you can only say that as long as you're winning. Like if they win 5 games this year, 6 games, you can't sit here and be like, well, guys, he's still one of the top 3 game day coaches in the league. Because at that point, it's like, well, that's not working. That may be the case, but he's just was one of the best game day coaches in the NFL to 5 wins. So you can only say that as long as you are winning. You can't just say, well, guys, I mean, come on. Don't forget, game day, hell of a coach, even though it's not translating to any wins. And I'll tell you this, too. It doesn't help Belichick with the success that Brady had. Because for a second there, you could certainly argue, if Brady never wins the Super Bowl, if he just kind of flounders and retires or whatever, you would have a lot of ammunition saying, Belichick was the reason this whole thing happened. But now that Brady has had all that success, it's not good for Belichick. Belichick has to do something on his own.
That I am not 100% certain the Patriots are going to stink this year is because it's like, man, Belichick could win them 3 or 4 games they have no business winning.
Yeah, there you go.
And so I don't think he should be on the hot seat, Wilds, even though you're done with him.
I don't have him on the hot seat, Brew. I have him like if you're making s'mores on July 4th, like, ooh, it's getting a little bit warm. Let me back my lawn chair up a bit.
Okay.
That's it.
Where you're at?
Belichick needs to take a page out of Saban's book. Nick Saban was on the razor's edge of letting the game pass him by in Alabama. Whenever the game turned to that like super air raid, electrifying offense that Ohio State started putting out there, and Clemson, Alabama was just doing the same old run the football, pro style, defense first. You could tell it wasn't working. You could tell it was slipping. And Saban went and got new assistants. He went and changed everything up with the Lane Kiffins of the world and whoever, and it changed Alabama because Alabama then started churning out Heisman-winning offensive players. They started churning out high-powered offenses. They started churning out the same offenses that Ohio State and whoever, Clemson or whoever at the time, were doing. And it saved, I think, Saban's tenure to where he could still compete. Belichick has not done that. Belichick has not changed with the times. His coordinators have not changed with the time. And without Tom Brady, it ain't looking good.
It's a little bit warm. Okay. But I also think I'll let you bash on Belichick, and then I'm going to go on a diatribe about how good the Patriots are going to be.
Okay, I'm not going to bash him. I'm going to tell you what should happen. Because, look, Belichick is not winning another Super Bowl. I'm saying that right now. Rack this, dust rack.
Probably won't.
Get this
probably
ready.
won't.
Jim Rome in the 90s?
Get this ready. All right? He's not going to win another Super Bowl.
Okay.
All right? But I think Kraft, let him coach this year. Mm-hmm. And I think you want him to break down Schuler's record of he needs 18 more victories. So that could take a few years. But I think after this season, when they win about 7 games.
If he wins 7.
But let's say, okay, so 18 wins. Let's say he wins 5 games this year. If you're Kraft, then you're thinking, I'm sure as hell not sitting around for 4 more years of this so he can get his 18 wins. 18 wins sounds a lot better whenever you're the Patriots and you're winning 10 to 12 games a year. But if you're winning 5 to 7 games a year, why would you allow, if you're Bob Kraft, why would you allow, let's say he wins 7 games. That's still 3 seasons. You're gonna let 3 seasons go by of 7-win football, going 7-10, just so Belichick can get his record? I don't think so. So if I understand what Broussard's saying about that, but if you churn out a 5, 6, 7-win season, that record is no longer going to be a carrot on the stick. No way.
You can't win 7 games.
No,
you
maybe
can't win 7 games.
So they should okay,
Go ahead.
hear me out.
You finish.
They win their 8 games. All right. After the season, you sit down with Bill, and you say, look, he's 71 years old. The oldest coach in the history of the league was 73. Okay. All right, so you sit down with Bill, you start planning an exit. And you say, look, Bill, I want you to break Don Shula's record in our uniform, but then we start looking for a way. We want to go in a different direction, and we would like you to retire. We don't want to fire you.
Oh, my God.
But you
this is too much placating to Bill Belichick. I don't think they'll do this. I mean, they didn't do it with Tom Brady. I don't think they're going to do it with Belichick. This is not how the Patriots are. They're not going to say, all right, Belichick, we'll give you 3 years to break this record with 7-8 win football. We want you to retire, not get fired. We want this. That's not how the Patriots roll. That's just not how it operates at all. What the Patriots should have done is they should have went and got Lamar Jackson, because that would have forced a change. That would have forced Belichick to grow, to evolve, to do things different. You can't have Lamar Jackson and do things like you did with Bailey Zappi and Mac Jones. So Kraft should have went and got him, and that would have given, I think, Belichick a solid 2-3 years of pretty good football. I think Lamar is good enough. I think they would have had to grow and evolve, and that would have been a good bridge to the end of this Belichick era. But what Broussard is talking about here, that's not going to happen.
You have a man-to-man talk, all right? And that's what I think needs to happen. And then you begin working on the exit plan. But you let him break Shula's record in your uniform. And if he is upset about that,
He's not going to be upset about it.
He would.
If you were giving this gold, exit.
Yeah. The problem with what Broussard's talking about is that you're basically giving Belichick leash. You're giving him leash to be bad. You're saying, like, we want you to break the record. If it takes 3 years, 4 years, whatever. Like, that can never, ever work in the NFL. Because what if he wins 5 games this year, and what if he wins 3 games next year? Then you're all of a sudden, this is like a 4-year, 5-year thing to break this record. That's just not going to work.
That's what you want.
Hang out, win 5 or 6 or 7
games. As long as it doesn't take 5 years.
But how can you guarantee that? Like, that's the problem. How can you guarantee that? Because if you're in year 3 of it, and you're like, well, it doesn't, at least, what he's saying, 8 games, right? Winning 8 games a year. He needs 18 to break the record. That's 3 seasons, okay? What if one of those seasons goes wrong? And one of those seasons all of a sudden is a 3-win or a 4-win? Or what if 2 seasons go wrong? Then what do you do? Because he's telling, like, Broussard's plan is saying, we're going to let you break the record. But that's assuming you're guaranteeing a certain win total. You can't do that. And then if you have a really bad season, are you just going to completely, go back off of your promise or whatever? You're just going to fire him? Like, his plan is way too reliant on this, like, set number, which, as we know in the NFL, you can't ever guarantee anything.
Well, you got 3 years to do it.
7, you lost me on if we won 7 games this year.
How many you think you're going to win with the Jets, the Bills, and the Dolphins in your conference?
Oh, the Jets. Well, the Jets haven't beaten the Patriots since 1985.
You had time.
Like what Broussard was talking about, let's say they go under their win total, and let's say they win 6 games this year, and then they win 6 next year. You're at 12. Then let's say you win 5. You're at 17. You're in your 4th year right there, and that's not that hard to imagine the Patriots being around that total.
I'm Brady, and they didn't have Aaron Rodgers. Can you give us a little context?
Aaron Rodgers? Oh, wow. When's the last? Hey, Dusty.
Here we go.
When's the last time Aaron Rodgers threw for over 300 yards? Oh, 23 games ago? My goodness gracious. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I know that the Chiefs.
Yeah. Super Bowl champions.
Super Bowl champions, you want to claim that you're the most disrespected team in the league.
Well,
but you can't claim to be a dynasty and the most disrespected.
Why not?
So we're going to trade. Okay. We were the dynasty. Now you guys are the dynasty. I get it. You were the most disrespected. Now we are the most disrespected. Everyone's like, oh.
I don't think so. The Patriots are way, way, way behind the rest of the AFC. If you look at the rest, even the up-and-coming teams like Jacksonville, even like Pittsburgh, those teams are way ahead, IMO, than the Patriots. I mean, the Dolphins. Like, where are the Patriots really in the pecking order of the AFC? They're down there. You look at the Ravens, you look at the Bengals, you look at the Jaguars, you look at the entire AFC East, like the AFC West. I mean, are the Patriots better than the Broncos? I don't think so. Where are they better than the Chargers? I don't think so. The Patriots are probably right around wherever you have the Raiders. The Patriots just don't have a lot to be excited about.
Oh, you're going to win 7 games. Dusty, can you show the Patriots defense, please? First of all, ever heard of the old axiom, defense wins championship? That's our defense. And guess what? We got better. We'll have a great defense this year that'll win us a few games.
Yes.
Especially
defense
now.
wins championships. How many championships did that?
I don't think that's an old adage, but I don't think it's the case anymore. Another thing too, like what always surprises me with these shows is like this guy's like the Patriots are going to be good this year. So he's saying they're going to win 10, 11 games, right? If Vegas has the win total at 7.5 and you think this team's going to win 10 games, you should be mortgaging your house to take the over on that win total. I don't understand how people don't pause, and not saying that it's always right, but if you think the Patriots are going to be really good or whatever, you have to at least pause and be like, what am I missing that Vegas is putting a 7.5 win total? Like, what am I putting out there? You know, he said we'll be better this year. Okay, well, the Vegas thinks that you're going to have you have the lowest projection since 2001. So there has to be some kind of like, what am I not seeing here?
That defense win.
None yet, so
One
good
playoff
point. We're due. Next up, offense. We finally have an offensive coordinator. I don't know if you've heard, but we used to have a defensive coordinator playing offense.
Matt Patricia.
And now we've got Bill O'Brien, who is going to bring in, not by himself, but DeAndre Hopkins is going to show up. Here's the early teamwork from DeAndre Hopkins.
Oh, you got to be kidding me on this.
Why?
This is tough right here. This is rough right here. I mean, this is. I'm going to say something controversial yet brave, and we're going to end the video here because this is so bad. Out of all the stuff that we react to, and there's probably like 15 shows that I research and try and figure out the topics to do the reacts and all that stuff. First things first is I would say consistently the worst. Like consistently the worst takes, consistently the worst topics, consistently the worst whatever. And this is no surprise as well. I mean, this is like, these are the kind of things where it's almost like a parody of sports shows. And I mean, I could go on 30 minutes of like how this doesn't make any sense. You know, you're talking about, there's a huge difference here where Deshaun Watson is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL throw into DeAndre Hopkins. Like, it's not that, you know, obviously I don't have to explain this to y'all, but it's just tough. But let me know in the comments below what you think. Do you think Bill Belichick is on the hot seat? Do you think the Patriots will move off of Bill Belichick? Do you think it's time for them to make a change? And also, do you watch the First Things First? Do you watch this show? How the hell do you, if you do, why, how? What keeps you coming back to the show? It's hard for me to even sit through these videos recapping with y'all. I mean, it's just, I don't know how are they on TV? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.